Starting the recording now. Welcome everyone to the OpenJ9 community call. The first item on our agenda is the Ask the OpenJ9 community, which is a chance for anybody who's joined the call to bring up any topics or discussion areas they'd like to discuss, or for lightning talks. I don't think we have anything scheduled today, but happy to have those scheduled in the future. So, is there anybody on the call who'd like to bring anything up for discussion?
I had mentioned to, as we know, we had sent that request to Mark Hammonds to join, and he indicated that he would try. I don't know if he's on the call or not, but I guess the point of this is just to see if anybody has any feedback about OpenJ9 and what they've been using it for, and to see if there's anything that you want to tell the community about it. So if there's any information, we'd love to hear it.
While we're waiting, there was a question on the OpenJ9 issues list about whether we would be shipping a JRE build for 9 full JDK build. I think that's something we'll have to work through with Adopt to see how we can get that kind of binary built as well. But it certainly seems like something we should be doing, should be enabling.
Yeah, I agree. I'd also like to see some more progress, if we can, to start driving towards some of the more, like getting the distribution packages together, like the PPAs and so on. I think that would be a great thing for us to start pushing at Adopt a little bit and helping with. I guess there was an interesting discussion, I guess, that happened on the in the Slack channels around the trying to get verbose information about code optimization and so on, that I think is highlighting one of the things that we should be trying to do more of, which is kind of write up some succinct little things about how the JIT works, how you can get logs of what methods are being compiled at what op level, how it's being compiled, and so on. Even just the very simple stuff, we've never really taken it upon ourselves to write anything about that. I know there's some articles out there that have talked about how to do that from a GC, like to get verbose GC logs and stuff for the IBM SDK. We should probably update / rebrand some of that to make it more appropriate for Eclipse OpenJ9 and get it sort of available at the site, I think. And then from a JIT standpoint, since we've largely been a kind of transparent component, we haven't really documented a lot of those internal things and how you do stuff. So I guess I'll try and take an action to get some of that started here, if only to just start with the top level stuff of what are the options that are available and what can you do, what can you get, so that people can get something to play with. And then and I think it'd be a really great blog series. I'll see if I can get somebody interested here to start writing things up about how you can parse a JIT log, because there's quite a lot of detail that you can get in an OpenJ9 JIT log about what's being compiled and how it's being transformed and how you can work with the code and understand how it's being generated and why it's being generated the way it is. I think that could be quite a rich source of interesting information for people.
Agreed. And I think there's probably some work we could do to make some of the diagnostics more consumable. I know a perpetual question has always been, did that method get inlined? And being able to, easy, dump me the inlining trees for this would be.
Yeah, 100% agree. 100% agree. I mean, the options exist. It's just we haven't told anybody or written it down anywhere or explained it. So I think it'd be a great topic to start with. So I guess, does anyone have any other ideas for things that they'd like to learn about or that they think we should be writing about from a user standpoint or even from a developer standpoint?
I know we've talked about these in the past. It's been the trace engine and the dump engines as well.
Yeah.
Especially now that we've got DDR enabled for x86, being able to couple those two together, it's a very powerful diagnostics tool.
Yeah, completely agree.
I think there's an opportunity to do much more user case focused documentation out there, so that we pick, say, the top 10 things that people trip over or they want to do, and we write documentation around those rather than the sort of more traditional reference documentation that we've been used to in the past.
Yeah, I agree.
A list of those, 10 that we'd like to start with, and we can create issues for them once we've got the user documentation out there and get working on it.
Yeah, why don't we create it, if we don't already have one, why don't we create an issue with the OpenJ9 for just to start discussing a set of topics, and then we can prioritize in there, and then hopefully get some people signed up to start writing some stuff.
That's a great idea. I can create the issue after the call.
Oh, cool. Thanks, Dan.
Sue, do we have any stats from any of the IBM documentation on the most accessed options pages?
I can get some, yes. We've got access to the data. It's a question of writing the right queries. So yeah, I can look at that.
That's a really good idea, Dan.
Does anybody else have anything in this section that we should be discussing? All right, then moving on to sort of the general business. Sue, or sorry, not Sue, Irina, do you want to take us through the OpenJ9 issues and queries? Irina, are you on mute, or are you with Mark?
She's in the room with me, so we're trying to figure out how to do this without starting a feedback loop.
Okay, so I'll just use Mark's machine because it's just easier. So let me get to them. So so the first was how many issues we have open. We have 245 open. That's just issues alone. For the test failures, we're down to 20 from 23 last week. JEPs, same as last week, 17. Enhancements, 35, same as last week. Same with the JIT component. VM is up a little bit, 64. GC up a bit with 2 issues, 12 up from 10. Docs, another one that got down from 10, we are down to 7. That's good progress. Build component 46 up to 45, and test component is the same, and user raised are up. I'm supposed to add the breakdown by JDK. I didn't get there yet. I'll get it for next time. Any questions?
So it sounds like we're pretty much holding even across all the areas. There's nothing that particularly needs attention this week.
Yeah, there was a comment that we should probably break out pull requests in this data as well.
Yeah, so I've done some of them. I mean, some of them I cleaned them up and I just got the issues, but I think I should have 2 sets of queries, like some, the ones with the pull request, the one with just the issues, and the third one, well, and also I should have the breakdown per JDK. So I think this will multiply quite quickly. So I'll get something done earlier in the week for next session. So.
Okay. All right. Is there any other comments or concerns around this? All right, so release mechanics. In terms of the 0.8 release, we are very close to being able to apply the final tag to that. I've got a pull request at the extensions repo ready to update the branch or the tag they pull from once we've been able to create the final tags. I believe we're working through the JCKs with the adopt team, running the manual testing now, as I believe all the automated tests have completed. So. There was a question around whether the JCKs, around retagging the final SHAs. I don't know that we've had an answer yet on that. Does anybody from the adopt community have an update on that? Okay. Something we'll have to follow up on then. All right, in terms of machines, is Charlie on the call today? No, I don't see him. I know he's been continuing to work with UNB on getting machines up and running. So I know there's progress being made there, but I don't have the details.
Yeah, I know he got an x86 machine working through the VPN at OMR. So I expect once he works through that, make sure everything's all shipshape, I expect that will start showing up. But those kinds of resources will start showing up at OpenJ9 as well. So that will be a very positive day for us.
That'll be great. Any other discussions around machines? Okay. End user experience. So we started our discussion today with the first new section on Ask the OpenJ9 community. And I think we've got a sizable set of to-dos out of that.
Yeah, I was thinking a little bit more while we were talking about other things. I guess maybe one of the first blogs we should write is about this call, and how people set expectations about what this call is about, maybe, and kind of highlight that we are looking for community input as much as people are willing to provide, and that we. It's so important to us that it's the first thing that we have on our agenda every week, notwithstanding that no one's stepped up to say anything yet. but we would really love to hear that feedback. So, maybe a blog about this, like just a short little, like the blogs that, for example, Shelley's written at Adopt OpenJDK, right? They're just a few short paragraphs, right? I don't think we have to say a lot of stuff. We just have to, write it down. I guess I could take an action to do that.
So is it, I guess right now, if we want to do this for the OpenJ9 website, we send Sue something. It's not a self-serve blog WordPress instance or anything, is it? Like if I want to throw stuff up somewhere, it'll be through Sue, and I'm going to have to add to her queue.
Well, I guess that's a question for Sue. I guess if there's something we can set up that makes it easier for people to contribute things so that it's not very much overhead for her, or none, ideally. Sue, do you have ideas here? Sue, are you there?
I can follow up with her after. At Adopt, it's quite easy because it's just we have accounts to the WordPress instance, and we create a draft, get someone to review it, and then away we go. So it's.
So how is that integrated into the rest of the Adopt like website and the other sort of entry points for people?
Yeah, it's they've put a link from their website to the blog, and then it takes you to their WordPress instance.
Okay, that makes sense.
It feels integrated, but it's not. No one person has to kind of gatekeep it.
Right, I see. And so how is access to that WordPress instance controlled?
They've given admin rights to the component leads, and then we arrange with our people to get more content there.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. I think we could do a similar thing very easily then.
Yeah, it might be good to have a stable URL for our blog content as well.
Agreed.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Are there any particular user-raised issues that we want to discuss or take further action on?
Oh, shoot, I didn't remember to review that before this meeting. Let me just pull up what's happened. If anything new has shown up.
I see that, Mark, you've been reaching out to some people directly through the items that they had raised, so that's good.
Here and there, not very many. I'm just trying to get some focused interest. People that I know have at least taken the time to open issues and tell us about stuff in the past. So it's just to see, kind of loop back with some of those people to see where they've gotten to. So we'll see.
During the last call, we discussed a pull request with some Ansible scripts.
Right.
Has any progress been made there on getting that merged?
No. Maybe. So I'm just trying to find it again. It's been there for a while, if I remember. Ah, there we go. Looks like it's looking for, well, the copyright check isn't still working, and I asked for some changes, but they're relatively minor changes, but. Oh, he's got a merge conflict problem. Okay. Looks like some DDR stuff broken. All right, and we can try to research him and see what's going on there. Help him get past this at least.
One of the other actions recorded here was for Sue to record the articles that we've been seeing on our website.
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to get to that yet. Last week or more, I've been pretty much full-time trying to get the user documentation contributed, which should be a good step forward. I'll follow up on that afterwards.
All right. Any other topics that we want to bring up here?
Is anyone on call familiar with the copyright check test? What actually gets checked in that? I just want to make sure we didn't over specialize it and do anything like look for an IBM copyright in it, which would be kind of silly. I guess Adam's not on the call. He's probably the right one to ask that question too. I'll follow up with him outside the call.
All right.
If that's the case. I'd like to believe we wouldn't do something that silly, but we'll just check to make sure.
I'm looking at the script right now.
Okay.
It's in the Jenkins jobs infrastructure folder.
That's where it is. Okay. Couldn't find it.
Yeah, I mean, it tells exactly what he's searching for there. Copyright, IBM core, blah, date, year.
It is looking for IBM copyright?
It has a regular expression that tries to match that. Yeah, so it's looking for. Here, I'll send you the link. You can.
I've got the file in front of me now.
Yeah.
I see what you mean.
Yeah, line 53.
Okay, so we may probably have to make that a bit gentler.
Yeah, I suspect that was
Yeah.
put in place when we first updated the copyrights.
Yes, I agree. And it probably survived us going open source. And since we haven't had anyone external create a new file, we probably survived with this for a long time. Okay, yep.
All right. So Mark, can you open an issue for that?
I will indeed.
All right, thank you.
Yep. It's probably a simple fix. I think we can just remove this check for the copyright statement altogether. Oh, I guess for the Eclipse repositories, we can remove the regex. For IBM runtimes, we probably want to keep it. Since it's, I guess the script is shared between this OpenJ9 and the extensions project. We're reusing this code in the extensions project, maybe?
Quite likely. Like, we'll have to follow up with Adam to confirm that for sure.
Yeah, great. Yeah.
All right. For the next release, I've sent out the call asking for, on the mailing list, asking for people to update a particular issue with details on areas they're going to focus on for the next sort of 3 months. There hasn't been any action on that yet. I know I have a handwritten list that I need to flesh out a little bit more and update for my team. But I think we need to get more details put in there to help the community be aware of areas we're focusing on. So I will reiterate that to the area leads for different areas and see if we can get some details fleshed out there. And of course, that's open to anybody if you're interested in talking about a major area you'd like to tackle. We'd love to have you fill out some details there and start opening issues and designs.
Yeah, sounds good. Sorry, I didn't get to that one yet. I saw it, but I didn't respond to it, obviously.
All right. How to advertise this call, we've already talked about a little bit. We've rebranded it the Ask the OpenJ9 community call. Should probably rebrand the minutes to show that. We should continue to follow up on seeing if we can get some 5 to 10 minute lightning talks to start this call to help drive some interest. Has anybody been able to reach out to Adopt's JITWatch project?
No, I made the suggestion, but I haven't followed up on that.
I haven't either yet. So, if there's somebody who is interested in looking in that particular area, we're happy to help you connect there. I did manage to tweet this out an hour before the call, so that was good.
I retweeted 5 minutes before, which may or may not have been the right time.
All right. Shelley, you had an action here to release a blog and a video on testing through the website.
Yeah, I have the recording, but I wanted to redo the audio. I'm not pleased with how the quality is on the audio, and I haven't gotten back to that yet. I might just put it up with the crappy audio. We'll see if I can enhance it at all. This would be the first of a series of how to run testing, functional tests. That if you're adding changes into the code base, how you'd run them, what they mean, what are the different targets, how you'd rerun failures, that kind of thing. So I'd like to have it be probably 3 or 4 parts of a series.
Okay.
It would do double duty in terms of our existing developers. There are some people that probably don't have this information either.
All right. Is there anything else in this particular area we should be talking about further? Looking at the list of items under any other business, I know we've been continuing to talk with Adopt and work with Adopt towards the final release. We have not refactored the build instructions into the doc folder. Does anybody have any concerns with doing that? Sue, I believe you had mentioned some previously.
I don't mind where they live, but we do have to line up the website because there's links there that will take people to where they currently are. The only other observation I had is that the README in that doc folder talks about it being the place for certain types of documentation that didn't cover things like processes and others. So we might want to just have a look at that again and make sure that we're calling out what that doc folder is intended for and how it's structured so that we don't lose people. Yeah, I mean, the only reason it is where it is because it was sitting with the Docker files. It seemed like a suitable place to put it at the time.
Okay. And I see somebody's updated this with the Adopt Technical Steering Committee is building a landing page for info. Should we be doing something similar to that?
What is the Adopt TSC? Sorry, I'm not familiar with it.
It's their Technical Steering Committee repo. It's the sort of front page for the Adopt project, and it's led by Martin, and I'm not sure who else is part of the Technical Steering Committee.
At the moment, can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Yeah, at the moment, we haven't really decided that yet. The repository was only set up initially for a jumping off point for our documentation, and so we haven't formalized an official membership for the TSC yet. So yeah, there's not that much that can really be said about it at the moment.
One of the things I think is really useful there, though, is it's a complete list of all the related Git repos.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a good sort of starting point for anyone that wants to get involved in the project to kind of help them find their way about.
And I think Martin purposefully pinned the most active repos and kind of the central repos at the top of that view.
Yeah, there was quite a few in there. Obviously, we've got things like the release repos, the nightly repos that contain all the binaries and that. And that's, if you're just looking to join the project, that's almost just noise. So it was a case of we pinned the ones that are likely to be most interesting. So we've got like the active JDK 8, the most recent JDK source code, and things like the build infrastructure, and of course the TSC itself at the top. And that just seemed to be a better way of getting people to find the repositories that are likely to be interested in fairly quickly.
Yeah, we may want to update at least the README on the OpenJ9 main repo to call out links to all the other related repos. I suspect it already.
Yeah, that works too. Yeah, that's a good idea.
Okay, we're down to our final 7 or 8 minutes. Is there any other business anybody wants to bring up?
Dan, the issue I raised for the thing is 1440. I guess I could put it on notes myself. I'll do that.
Thanks, Mark. Well, if there's nothing anybody else wants to bring up at this point, then thank you everybody for attending, and we'll call it for today. I will stop the recording now.
Cheers.
Thanks.